Did you know that the British Empire once controlled a quarter of the world's land? In this video, we will mark every single territory ever held by the Crown. The empire grew from the union of England and Scotland. Next, the Isle of Man was added, followed by Ireland in 1801. At its height, the empire's powerful navy controlled strategic islands and straits across the globe. In the Mediterranean, the Crown held key strongpoints: Gibraltar, Minorca, and Malta, followed by the Ionian Islands and Cyprus. But the Crown's ambition stretched far beyond the Mediterranean. Crossing the Atlantic, the empire's first foothold was established in Newfoundland, the gateway to North America. Next, the colonization of the eastern seaboard and Hudson Bay began. Nova Scotia and New Brunswick were secured. Following the 7 Years' War, Britain gained control of all lands east of the Mississippi, primarily the unsettled territories east of the Ohio River and the province of Quebec. Spain also ceded East and West Florida. On the Pacific coast, British Columbia was established, which eventually joined other territories to form the Dominion of Canada. Steering south, the British secured Bermuda as a mid-Atlantic gateway before penetrating the Caribbean. Here, the empire's sugar industry was forged, driven by the labor of thousands of enslaved Africans across a growing network of colonies. The expansion covered British Honduras and the Mosquito Coast, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, and the Bahamas. It reached Turks and Caicos, temporarily Aruba and Curacao, the Virgin Islands, Anguilla, and St. Kitts and Nevis. The chain continued through Barbuda, Antigua, and Montserrat, the other Windward Islands, Barbados, and finally Trinidad and Tobago. On the South American mainland, Britain established British Guyana. They also ceded Suriname to the Dutch in 1667, a trade that brought them New Amsterdam, the city we now call New York. On the African mainland, Britain expanded its reach along the western coast, securing the Gambia, Sierra Leone, the Gold Coast, and the territories of modern-day Nigeria and parts of Cameroon. Further out in the Atlantic, the empire established vital outposts on the remote islands of Ascension and St. Helena. The empire's smallest colony, the Pitcairn Islands. It was here that the mutineers of the HMS Bounty sought refuge from British justice. Turning towards the sub-Antarctic, Britain asserted its control over the Falkland Islands and the South Sandwich Islands, as well as Tristan da Cunha and Gough Island. In southern Africa, the Cape, Natal, Transvaal, and Orange Free State eventually unified to form the Union of South Africa. Separate from the Union were the protectorates of Swaziland and Basutoland. In addition, the empire controlled southwest Africa, Bechuanaland, and southern and northern Rhodesia. The majestic waterfall on their borders was named in honor of Queen Victoria. Further on lay Nyasaland, the islands of Zanzibar and Tanganyika, Kenya, Uganda, Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, British Somaliland, and the cradle of the pharaohs, Egypt. Control over Egypt allowed the Crown to secure the vital trade route from India. Britain also controlled the routes around Africa. This included Mauritius and the Seychelles, as well as the Maldives and the Chagos archipelago. Further east lay Bencoolen on the island of Sumatra and New South Wales, which served as the gateway to the colonization of the entire Australian continent. Further into the Pacific, the empire established control over New Zealand, Fiji, the New Hebrides, and the Solomon Islands. This expansion also secured the eastern half of New Guinea, initially with a protectorate over the south in 1884, followed by the acquisition of the north after the First World War. Turning towards the Middle East, the empire established a formidable presence to safeguard the route to India. This included the strategic port of Aden and Oman. followed by the mandates of Palestine, Transjordan, and Iraq. Along the Persian Gulf, Britain secured protectorates over Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and the Trucial States. Beyond the Persian Gulf, the focus shifts to Ceylon. More than just a source of wealth, this island stood as the strategic guardian of the Indian Ocean, anchoring British power in the east. The colonization of India began from three key ports: Madras, Calcutta, and Bombay. In 1858, following the Great Rebellion, India became a crown colony, the true jewel in the crown, and later, Queen Victoria assumed the title of Empress of India. Serving as vital buffer zones for the empire, Afghanistan, Nepal, and Bhutan all recognized a British protectorate at various times. Further east, Britain secured the vital trade routes of Southeast Asia, controlling the southern Malay Peninsula, Singapore, and northern Borneo, including the Sultanate of Brunei. The expansion continued into Burma, where Britain first seized the south before annexing the entire country. Meanwhile, on the Chinese coast, the empire established key footholds: the strategic port of Weihai and the crown jewel of Asian trade, Hong Kong. Beyond the inhabited continents, the crown also laid claim to vast territories in the Antarctic. You are now looking at every territory the British controlled. Well, almost every one. This was the empire where the sun truly never set.